My name is Gabriel Gasque, and I'm head of outreach at Protocols.io. As I mentioned before, this webinar will be recorded, and I will be sharing the recording with all registered participants. So welcome to the Tips and Tricks webinar for power users of Protocols.io. Before we jump in, just a quick note. This is not an introductory webinar. This is a webinar intended for advanced users. And just in case you are not familiar with the platform, I would like to point out that the platform is really intuitive. And the best way to familiarize yourself with the many different tools and functionalities of Protocols.io is to just log in and play around. However, we also have a series of resources that you can browse for more information. And you can find those resources in the 3 URLs that I'm showing you on the screen. So we have a series of recurrent, regularly scheduled webinars that include once a month an introductory webinar, and the next one is going to be in January. We also have what we call drop-in clinics, and I'm going to open our website. So you can see that we also have a scheduled drop-in clinics, which are agenda-free, like office hours, where you can just show up with the specific questions that you might have and discuss with one of us those questions. We also have a series of pre-recorded tutorials that explain with short videos different tools and functionalities of Protocols.io. And finally, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, you will find a link to request a one-to-one demo. These are about half an hour, and you get to talk to one of us. You can share your screen, we can share our screen, and have a very interactive conversation about the questions that you might have. So, as I mentioned before, this is not an introductory webinar. And what I would like to highlight in this opportunity are some features that might take a couple of months before you encounter them, but could be, however, very useful from the start. So I'm going to be focusing on some of these things of the editor and the file manager that are not necessarily instantly discoverable. So the webinar is going to be mostly a live demo. I'm going to be doing it from the internet, but you can see on the screen the agenda. So we're going to touch on 3 topics about the editor and a couple of topics about the file manager, and then we are going to be devoting some time. We're going to reserve some time at the end for questions. So let's get started. And for that, I'm going to go to my file manager. And just to orient ourselves, so this is my account in Protocols.io, what you see on the screen. To the left, you can see the different workspaces to which I belong. And if I go to one of these workspaces, you can see my file manager that is organized in subfolders. And to create a new protocol, which probably you all know how to do. It is very easy. So there is a new button here, which you can also access here. So we can open a new protocol, select the folder in which the protocol is going to be saved. Let's choose this one. And then we can start by selecting a template that can be then personalized and edit using the editor. So which we have reached now. So this is the editor, and a way, to create protocols. You can start by adding one step and write the instructions for step one. But what I want to show you now is 3 ways in which you can import into the platform protocols that you already have in a different format. So, and we're going to be moving from the easiest to the more sophisticated one. So you should be able to see on my screen a folder in my computer that has 3 protocols in 3 different formats. So I have a document, I have a PDF, and I have a plain text. And the easiest way for us to import these protocols would be just to drag them into the file manager. So I can take these protocols and just very easily just drag them. Well, they should be draggable, but I'm having a little bit trouble with the mouse. I don't know how to do this, but sorry about that. Well, it's not cooperating. But I don't know why it's not working. Okay, so I can just drag the protocols into a folder. And as you can see, the protocols have been imported. And if I go to the folder, I can see the 3 protocols. So this takes no time at all. And even though it's not the recommended way of doing it, it is at least a very easy way to centralize all my protocols into the platform. A good thing about doing it this way, in addition to centralize the protocols in a single location, is that I can share my protocols easily. So I can select any of these protocols and share it with anybody beyond my workspace. When I drag the protocols into my workspace folder, they will be accessible to anybody who is member of my workspace. If I want to share these protocols beyond my workspace, there is a share button here, and I can share it via email with somebody outside the workspace, within or beyond my institution. And I can also upload documents by uploading files. So you can drag them as I did it before, but you can also upload files, and you can upload them from a cloud-based drive, or you can, again, browse your computer. And So, and then you can upload them by browsing them. Now, I'm going to show you a second way which takes a little bit more time, but adds some advantages to creating protocols based on protocols that I already have in my computer. And what we call this is to attach the protocol into a protocols.io protocol. So to do that, I will create a new protocol from the scratch. I'm gonna select the folder in which the protocol is gonna be saved. So it takes me to the editor. And what we're going to do is we're going to attach the protocol to the protocol in protocols.io. So you can see the different tabs here of the protocol. I can go to the description tab and scroll down to the bottom, and there is a window to add an attachment. And then again, I can take my protocol and drag it. And I have attached the protocol to my protocol in protocols.io. Now I can add a title. I can add an abstract. And now if I go to the file manager and I refresh it, I should see my protocol. Now, the advantage of doing your protocol this way, it's even though your protocol doesn't have the steps of protocols.io, what I can do is I can share the protocol as I did in the previous case, but a protocol that was created this way can also be published or reserved at DOI, can also be forked and copied, and can also be versioned. So I don't have the steps, but by attaching my protocol into a protocols.io protocol, I created this protocol document that can be published, forked, and versioned. And it doesn't take you much more time than just dragging your document. Now I'm going to show you the third way in which you can import an existing protocol in the document. And to do that, I will, again, create a new protocol. Saving it into the same folder. I select the template. I can add a title. But here, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be importing the steps. So you can see my protocol here. This is one of the protocols that was saved in my computer. You can see it has a title. There are the authors. It has an abstract, some notes, and then the protocol itself starts. It's organized by sections. Each section has a number of steps. And it was created, as we traditionally do, in a Word document. This is the protocol. No, this is not the one. this is a protocol in which I'm going to be importing the steps. So, and to do that, you can see here, I don't know if it's too small for you to see, but there is a function that is called insert steps from a text file. So I can click it, I can go to my text file, and obviously a way of doing it is just, copy and paste each step, but I can import a block of steps. So I'm going to take my section 1. I'm going to copy the 2 steps of my section 1. I'm going to paste them here. And each number represents a step. That is how it is organized. So I copy them in this window. I preview it. And now the function has transformed every step of the text file into the steps of protocols.io. I add them to the protocol, and the steps have been imported and created 2 steps. I can go back, take the name of the section, add the name to the section. This step has a note that tells me the composition of the Piranha solution. I can come back. I can add a note to this step, paste my note, and now I can keep importing my steps. I have a second section. I can take the steps of the second section. I'm going to import, again, insert the steps from a text file. I copy them. These are 4 steps. I preview and I add to the protocol. And now they have been added as steps 3, 4, 5, and 6. But these steps belong to a different section. So here, I can create a new section. And I'm going to copy the name of the section. And now it changed color. So we have 2 sections, each one with the steps. I have a note here. And I just can keep doing this for every section. I can, in the description, I can add my title or my abstract. I can go here, take my abstract, copy it, and I can change the name of the protocol. And you don't have to save it. As you type every few seconds, it is automatically saved. If I go to my file manager and I refresh it, you can see that there is a new protocol, which is the one that I created here. I'm just going to close it. I can reopen it. As I mentioned before, here are the steps, the 2 sections. If I go to view, I have a table of contents that show me the sections, and I can navigate. There is the abstract, the note. Now, in addition of this protocol to be shareable, publishable, versionable, and forked, the same way that I showed you in the previous version in which you just attach the document, this way of doing it takes more time, but transform the protocol into a live document that accepts comments and can be run from the computer and tablet. So to further customize the protocol, I can use the components. And right now I started with the generic, but I can change my components. my table of components to any type of document. So it can be, or protocol, it can be a generic, biology, computational. And it is helpful because it helps annotating and making the protocol clearer. So for example, there is here an incubation time, which is a 10-minute. I can select it and go to duration. And now it has transformed the plain text of 10 minutes into a timer. And this has the advantage that if I decide to run my protocol, so I go to view, you can see the 10 minutes here. If I decide to run my protocol from my cell phone, tablet, or computer, what it does is that that text of 10 minutes was transformed in an online timer. So if I'm running my experiment, I can tick off every step as I make progress. And when I reach my step 2, I can click start and the timer will start ticking down. And when it's done, the computer or cell phone will let me know with a beep. And what I also wanted to say is that by adding in this way or in the previous way, by adding a title and an abstract to your protocol, you make it more discoverable. I want to show you another couple of components that we think can be very useful. So let me see here. So I'm going to go back to editing the protocol. So a second advanced component is what we call the smart component. And the smart component is here. And it adds sort of a table. So I'm going to add a row. I'm going to call it total cell. I'm going to dead cells. And I'm going to require that those two components are required. And then I'm going to add my component. And you can see here is it just looks like a table. But the importance of this component is that when you run the protocol, so I'm going to view it. And then when I run the protocol, the program doesn't allow me to continue running until I complete this table. So I cannot mark this step as done unless I complete this table. So now if I write that I counted 570 cells, of which 120 were dead, 120 were dead. Now I have completed the smart component and I can tick the step as completed. So this is a component that we think can be useful, and it might be hard to discover at the beginning. And I also would like to remember that once I finish running my experiment, I can save the record of that experiment as an independent file. A second component that I would like to show to you, I'm going to back to editing the protocol, are tables. So I'm going to add a table to this step. right? So I can add a I'm going to get back to the questions if you're okay with that at the end of the presentation. But let's say I have a table here, and this is just a table. We can call it reagent. This is a table to prepare a buffer. This could be 1x. This could be 15x. And then I can say water, double distill water. And then I can say, I don't know, enzyme and buffer. And I can send 10, 20, 30. And then here it accepts formulas. Should be equals B2 times 15. And then it multiplies your what you reach times 50, right? So you can do this. This is a way for adding tables. And you can also import the content of the table from an Excel file. So I have a table here that I'm gonna import. So this is similar. So I have a formula here that it's 10x. I can copy this and paste it into my table. So this is a way for me to importing tables from Excel file. However, in Excel, or this is Google Sheets, column C were formulas. You can see that the formula is there. But when I imported them to the protocol, the formula wasn't saved. It just imported the value. If you want to import the formula, you have to go to Google Sheets, go to View, Show Formulas. Now the formulas are displayed. I can copy the table again and paste it here. And now paste. And now the formulas should be saved. Before, only the values were imported. Now the formulas were imported. Right? So to do that, again, you go to View, Show, and you choose View, Show, and Formulas. That's the way for importing formulas into a table in protocols.io. And the last thing that I want to show you about the editor is that it is very easy to insert images, pictures, and videos. So here you can just insert images. You can browse the picture that you want to insert. But what I want to show is how you would embed a video. And I'm going to use a video from YouTube. This is a video that describes a Western blot. And to embed a video, if you have your video uploaded into YouTube, you go to the Share button and select Embed. And it's going to show you the code that encodes the embed function. So you can copy the code. And here you go to Embed Media and you paste the code, you save it, and now the video is displayed not as a link to YouTube, but as the actual video. And if I go to view, I can see my smart component, my table, and my video, which can be played directly from the protocol. Okay. Now, moving on, I would like to show some things about the file manager. So as I mentioned before, if I just have a document that is not a protocol, I cannot copy or fork it. So I cannot copy or fork a text file or PDF or a document. But if I have a protocol, I can create a copy or a fork. Now, what is the difference between copying and forking? Forking maintains the history of the protocol. So if I fork a protocol, the platform will know which one is the original protocol, and the protocol will display a link to that original protocol. So forking is good for making small changes to an existing protocol. Let's say you have optimized your protocol to work in a species of bacteria, and you want now to optimize it to work in a different species. Then forking is the way to go. And again, the platform will maintain history of the forking. Copying is good when you create many related protocols, let's say for a publication, and you want to create a template that contains the same metadata, for example, the same set of authors, the same funding, but the protocols are independent of each other. So you can create a protocol that contains that information, authors, funding, and then you copy it. That information will be copied, but the content of the protocols is different from each other, and they are not necessarily linked in content. And you can do that for your own protocols, but you can do that as well for published protocols. So if I go, let me go to our homepage, quickly access one of our public protocols. If I want to optimize this protocol, the way to go is to make a fork. And then I select the folder in which the fork is going to be saved. Another thing that I wanted to show about the file manager is to create a collection of protocols. Let's say you're putting together a publication and you're going to be using 3 or 4 protocols that you already have created. So there is a way for getting to combine all those protocols into a collection and get a single DOI for that collection, in addition to the individual DOIs of your protocols. To create a collection, you select the new button and you select new collection. Again, we can select the folder in which we are gonna save the collection, and you can start searching for the protocols to be included in that collection. Why is not working? DNA. I don't know why it's not displaying. Okay, now it's working. It just took a little bit time. So you can start typing, and it has it's going to search for protocols. I can select this protocol to be added to my collection. I can select another protocol to be added to a collection. Now I have created a collection with 2 protocols. I can give a title to the collection. And now if I go back to my file manager and I refresh, you can see that I created, oh, where did I save the collection? Let me see. Oh, I lost it. Let me start again because I don't know where the collection was saved. So new collection. I'm going to select the file, the folder in which the collection is going to be saved. And I'm going to select imported protocols, continue. Let's do DNA. It's going to take some time. Okay, so I select one. I can select another. I have added 2 protocols to the collection. Now, if I go to the file manager and I refresh it, I can see that the collection was created. I can open it. And I can also publish the collection to get a DOI for that specific collection. And once the collection is open, the reader will have access to the individual protocols. And the last piece of information that I wanted to share with you, it's about the different ways of sharing a protocol. As I showed you before, if I create a protocol, or even if I drag a document into my file manager, I can easily share it outside the workspace. So everything that I save in the general workspace folder will be visible for the members of the workspace. Every workspace comes with a private folder that has your name and the Raccoon logo. And if I hover over here, you might see that it says your private folder. So anything that I save in this folder, it's only for my eyes. Nobody else in the workspace will be able to see it. But if I go to the general folder of the workspace, anybody who belongs to that workspace will be able to see the content of this general folder. But I can also share my protocols beyond the workspace by selecting the share button. And you can share it via email, or you can share it directly with a workspace. And once you share it with somebody else, you can control what that collaborator can do with the document you are sharing with them. They can only view it, they can edit, or they can edit and publish. You can also get a link, a private link that will provide access to that document. And if you want to send this protocol to a journal that requires double blinding review, you can get a blind review link that will strip the author information from the protocol. And this link you can share via Slack, via email, WhatsApp, or any other means of electronic communication. And again, it's very easy to publish any protocol that you have created. You just have to follow the publishing workshop, which shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes. And I think that with that, I will close my presentation so we can have some minutes left for Q&A. And feel free to type your questions either in the chat or in the Q&A window. So there is one question already from Beverly, who says whether the smart component can do calculations for you. And I don't think so. I will double check, but I don't think that the smart component can do calculations for you. Any other questions while I verify whether the smart component can do calculations? And I've been confirmed the smart component cannot do calculations. So it is for you to enter values, but it cannot do calculations. We have another question from Grigor, who says, can you share files from private folder, or you have to move them to the share folder? No, you can share files from your private folder. So, and Yvonne asks a question that says, if the protocol were made by somebody else, who did credits IP is attributed when getting a DOI? So if you create the credit, I would say would go to the authors of the protocol. So if you, let me see. So if you, this is a public protocol that was created by somebody else. And these are the authors who get credit for the publication of this protocol. If I want to optimize it, I can create a fork. I will be the author of that fork. But if I'm forking it, my published protocol will have an indication, will have a flag that says that this is a fork of an original protocol. I will be the author of the new version, but there will be a link for the reader to access the original protocol. And we think that that should give credit to both of them. to the authors who originally developed the protocol and to the authors who optimized and create a fork. Am I answering your question, Yvonne? Okay, then let me say, Grigor asked, if you place a video and YouTube removes it from the channel, does the video stay in the protocol? No. If the video is removed from the channel, from YouTube, it will be removed from the protocol. The protocol will have a link, but it will be broken. Yes. But you can insert a video into a step without linking it to YouTube. So the way that you you can insert a video directly into the protocol. So instead of embedding from YouTube, you can insert an image or a video directly into the step. Let me see what other questions. So there is a question about whether protocols and BenchLink interact. We do have partnership with some lab books, electronic lab books, but we only have partnership with SciNode, LabArchives, and RSpace. We currently don't have integration with BenchLink. Following question is, what if you fork a protocol and then you want to make an edit to all forks? Do you have to do it for each of the forks? Yes. So the documents will be independent from each other. And if you want to make a change that is common, but you have already forked the document, you will have to make the changes to all the forked versions of that protocol. So the question is whether you can embed video from another platform other than YouTube. Yes, you can embed videos from other platforms like Vimeo. But if you have a video in a Google Drive or in your computer, what you can do is you can insert it directly into the protocol. So there is another question that says from Gloria, whether there is a difference between forking and versioning. So a version, yes, there is a difference between a fork and a version. So versioning are usually done by the same set of authors. And if you want to create a new version of a protocol that you didn't originally create, you have to request permission from the original authors for your protocol to be version 2 or 3 of their protocol. But you can fork a protocol without requesting author permission to create your own optimized version. So you can fork your own protocols and you can version your own protocols, but if it's a protocol from somebody else, you can only fork it. If you want to version it, you have to request permission. And versions, we usually understand a version as an improved or as a corrected version of the original protocol. Let's say you publish your protocol and then you realize that a step needs further clarification, that now you want to add a video to a step that you didn't add before, or that you made a mistake, then you will have to version the protocol. If you want to make a change that will make the protocol suitable for a different preparation, that will be ideally a fork. So the protocols are related, but they are not necessarily a version of each other. did I answer your question, Gloria, about versioning and forking? And then Beverly has another question, which is, what if you lose the internet connection during a run? Would it prevent you from progressing through the protocol? Can you download a printable version of the protocol? That's a very good question. If you lose connection to the internet, yes, you will interfere with the running of the protocol. We don't work offline, but you can download a printable version of the protocol. So let me go back to my file manager. So this is my file manager. I will open a protocol. Oh, well, this one is empty. Let me open a protocol. So this is the protocol that we have created during the workshop. And if you go to more, you can export it as a PDF to your computer. And this is how the PDF will look like. And then you can print it. Or you can save it to your computer. So yes, you can download a printable version. And you can select to just export to the PDF the steps or all the metadata plus the steps. I don't see any more questions. And we're also running out of time. But if I didn't answer properly any of your questions, let me know and I can give it another go. I'm also going to type in the chat my email address, and you can always follow up with me. Any more questions? I'm going to stop the recording in case somebody wants to ask a question off the record.